Hello friends and potential friends. Well, I'm back here at the Patience Garden again. Figured this would be a good place to start. Today is Friday, November 19th, I believe, 2021. And I was just out here pulling a few weeds and checking on the asparagus, seeing how they're growing. Looking pretty good. No fair peeking behind you, by the way. I'm going to try to do this without giving away too many spoilers, because right now the garden doesn't look very much like the last time you saw it. It's in a rather sad state of semi-disrepair, but it is coming along. I'm getting the makeover done, slow but steady. Hopefully the wind won't bother things too much today. We had a front move through last night, so it's pretty windy out here today. Almost chilly too. It's only about 70 degrees, and this is probably the warmest part of the day. But anyway, let me get you off of that tripod and we'll see how much I can get away with showing you without giving you any spoilers. Well, we start off with a knee-sized view of the Patience Garden. As you can see, they're growing ferns. Everything's looking good so far. Seem to be pretty happy. Oh, and incidentally, as part of the makeover, I had to find some room for some of the plants in the lab, so I filled up this bed. The front row there is cabbage collards. Next to them are some curly Scotch kale. After that comes some kohlrabi. Oh, there's Mama Cat. It's almost supper time, so she's hanging around. But anyway, there's 4 kohlrabi, and then the last row back there is Black Beauty eggplants. I've also brought out a bunch of tomatoes that I've piled up everywhere I can find to pile them up. Got Abe Lincoln's up here in front. There's Brad's Atomic tomatoes back in the back. We've got a few blossoms here and there. In fact, some of these started blooming before I even got them out of the lab. And I've been coming out playing pollinator. That one incidentally is a red brandywine. Some more brandywines over here. One of the pineapples. And in this little bed here, you can't really see them, but I put a bunch of onion seeds. We have some Utah, what does that say? Utah yellow sweet onion. And the next one over there is red burgundy onions. Now, one of the critters was digging around in here not long after I put the seeds in here, so I doubt if all the seeds are in the same rows that I put them in. We'll see what happens there. And out here along the mini orchard, I've removed all the peppers that I had out here. They finally stopped producing, and so I gradually got rid of them. But the other stuff in the orchard is doing well. There's one of my pomegranates. Butternut squash, still alive. That one hasn't been blooming. And the guava that I brought home from the big box store. Papayas are still doing what papayas do, including the big one. I haven't seen any more fruit falling off in the last week or so. So that might be a good sign. My fig is still putting on leaves. The mulberry is still doing pretty well. The other pomegranate looks about the same as it always had, because it never sees the sun back here in the corner. There's the ponderosa lemon. And the other fig back there in the back. There's another squash right in there that can't really see it I planted it in that little pile of dirt, but the leaves are all over there near the sugar cane now. Speaking of sugar cane, just have a few stalks this year. And there's licorice checking out my, I think that's acorn squash. No, those are spaghetti squash. And the moringa is still hanging in there. Leaves are drying up and turning yellow. As soon as it goes dormant, I'll probably top it and see if I can get some cuttings to sprout. And I put a couple of wads of tomatoes down there at the base just because I had a bunch of them left over in the lab. But the mini orchard seems to be doing pretty good. Let's go see what else we got up here. Okay, this is going to be a hard one. Pay no attention to the 800-pound gorilla in the room. Along this side, I've got 7 Roma tomatoes. And again, we have a few blossoms here and there. They're getting a little bit beat up by the winds today. There's another pineapple. And over on this side, I've got 3 Ponderosa tomatoes. Again, with more blooms. There's a Praxis cherry there in the center. And then we have 3 Mule Team tomatoes. And all along the edge here, those little green specks that you see without me showing you the rest of the bed, those are purple top turnips. And they're coming on pretty good. I planted some onions over on the other side, but so far they haven't been coming up. But anyway, that's the only glimpse I'm going to hopefully give you of the garden makeover. And I hope to get some tomatoes before too long. Now over here in what's left of the original garden beds, the peach and the orange habaneros are still producing peppers. That one's about half ripe. Another one about half ripe over on the other side. But the Pusa Jawalas, I don't know what to think about these. If you want to grow some peppers that simply won't stop producing, Pusa Jawala is the one to look for. I'm getting a handful of these every day. And not only that, where is that? We still got blooms. The thing just keeps on blossoming. And I need the soil that it's using pretty soon. These are the red habaneros. I haven't picked any fruit off of them in at least a week. But even they have a few blossoms here and there. I'm not sure how much longer I'm going to keep them in here, because I need to make some more room in here. Still have a little bit of rosemary that I have to repot. And there's another of the pineapples. Over here are the aloes that I took out of my experimental bed. And the elderberry, still doing pretty good. Got some more red brandywine tomatoes out here. And again, more blossoms. And then I have another bed of various things. The first row here is some more of that purple Vienna kohlrabi is its official name. And it might just be my wishful thinking, but it looks like that stem might be starting to thicken a little bit. Behind that, we've got some more Black Beauty eggplants. And these ones seem to be doing pretty good. And behind those, if you can see them, is some bunching onions. And I put a row of white sweet onions along the back there, but So far I'm not seeing any sprouts there. The rest of the rosemary seems to be recovering fairly well after the transplants. I was worried for a while because they started losing a lot of branches, but now I'm starting to see a little bit of new growth on those, so they should recover. Down here there's my 3 mangoes, and there's the one that had to find its own way out of the seed and seems to be the healthiest of the 3. Oop, licorice is thirsty. You got a water dish right over there. In the experimental bed, I planted some of the Jaworski peppers in here. Those are the ones that I grew in the green stalk last year. And look, there's even a blossom on one of them. These things just don't seem to realize that this is supposed to be fall. And there's still a couple of datil peppers left in here also. And of course the rest of the aloe down at the far end. Okay, licorice. Yeah. That's what you want. Yep. That's what you want. Okay, my 3rd green stalk, still back here on the back patio. I did finally plant it. I put a bunch of Swiss chard seeds in the center 3 aisles. I think I put some nasturtiums and some marigolds in the bottom row. And I've got a few of the Napa cabbages in the top row, along with some seeds of a gourmet lettuce mix that so far hasn't started popping up. And there's another of the Napa cabbages that's bolting on me. So I guess it's still too warm for cabbage. The pineapple plantation, still doing pretty good. I think there's 6 or 7 of them in here. And I'm still waiting for that big one to produce something. I got the feeling when that thing forms a fruit, it's going to be a good sized one. Meanwhile, I've got a couple of Ponderosa lemons down there. The mint that I pulled out of the bottom of the green stalk is still doing pretty well. And that one volunteer okra that just popped up out of nowhere is doing pretty well. The ginger jungle and the turmeric, it's not going to be much longer before I have to do another harvest. Turmeric in particular is starting to yellow since we've had a few cold nights. Well, cold by our standards. And there's still a little bit of turmeric over here in the experimental bed. A little bit of ginger on the far side. But from the looks of things, I'd say in the next week or 2, possibly 3, I'll be doing another harvest video. Okay, up here on the front porch, we have this is my turnip, or my radish tower. Marigolds and nasturtiums in the bottom row. And then I have a variety of radishes in all of these other rows, till you get up here to the very top where we still have strawberries. They're growing kind of slow, but they are still growing. Haven't lost any of those yet. In fact, I had to take one of them out of there I had 2 in the same pocket. So I took one out and put it in the lab. As soon as I eat some of these radishes, I'll bring it back out and put it in here. And the other side, the salad tower, got mint in the bottom. I see I've got another one bolting. A lot of these are different types of lettuce mix. And there's some of that golden acre cabbage up here in the top. I've been munching a little bit of that here and there. And these guys here, I believe, is bok choy that I planted from seed. Can't complain too much, but I wish these things would stop bolting. This is winter. And finally, a quick peek in the lab. It's going to be quick because these are the stragglers. For the most part, these are the plants that wound up staying in yogurt cups a lot longer than the other ones did, so they're not nearly as big. I see 4 Roma tomatoes, a couple red brandywines, There's another golden acre cabbage back there. Another kohlrabi back in the corner. Another black beauty. There's another Praxis cherry. And then one little rosemary that I decided to take one of the cuttings and see if I could turn that into a bonsai, because I was worried about the other ones outside. I think starting at that size, I might be able to turn it into what I've been thinking about in my head. And oh, there's the strawberry that I took out of the green stalk. And the other one that I never put in the green stalk. So I've got 2 strawberries here waiting to go out. This should be a weed. And that rosemary doesn't look real good right now. And then over here I've got 8 cups that are going to be another exercise in patience. Can you read that? It says purple flesh dragon fruit. And I planted seeds. I know most people go with cuttings and they wind up getting fruit in a couple of years. According to the package, if I can get these things to germinate, I might see some fruit on them in 3 to 4 years. That's it for the lab. Not much left in here. Any of these that survive will be going outside sooner or later. Probably later, because right now I don't have any place to put them. But meanwhile, that's about it for this tour. So I'm going to go in and see what I can do with this video. And I'll see you next time.